Hello everyone, welcome to today's new video. Please remember to like and subscribe to support the channel. Let us begin. With an annoyed expression, Qian headed towards Miss Wei's house, ready to confront her about how she had underestimated him. She saw him as a mere cat, but he believed himself to be a mighty tiger and intended to prove it to Miss Wei. Miss Wei opened the door, inviting Tian inside. To his surprise, she looked stunning in a beautiful dress, as if she had dressed up just for him. With a playful smile, she teased him about how glad she was that he had come and mentioned feeling lonely at home. With a serious expression, Tian responded to Miss Wei, warning her that she was playing with fire. In a sarcastic tone, she asked, "Really?" and she went close to his ears with a devilish look in her eyes and whispered seductively that she was scared. Tian blushed and tried to resist Miss Wei's seductive action. He understood that if he gave in to her plan, it would put him at a disadvantage, which is why he couldn't allow himself to be tempted. Qian avoided her seductions and invited himself inside her house. He then sighted comfortably on her couch and asked what does she want from him. She then responded that the White House is a gold membership card and wants to give it to him as a gift from her, and it will be all free from now on. Qian was both impressed and astonished by Miss Wei's unexpected generosity in offering something valuable for free. It meant a lot to him and he couldn't believe his luck. However, Miss Wei teasingly called him stupid, claiming she had only just noticed his reaction and suggesting that he deserved punishment. However, Tian doesn't want to take the golden card because he can't afford to owe her any favors. Miss Wei firmly pressed the card against Tian's chest, explaining that he had to take it because without the card they wouldn't be able to go out together. Miss Wei, being cute and seductive, claimed that she doesn't have a boyfriend. Qian accepted the golden card and responded to Miss Wei that he knew that she was not her type and wanted to know what she wants from him. In response, Miss Wei clarified that the decision was not up to her, but instead up to him. She then wonders if it is possible to become her personal doctor because she really wants to work with him. Qian responded that if she is sick, he can help her out, but he can't be his personal doctor. She then replies that she is not sick, but wants to be her personal physician and will even pay 100 million per year. Qian couldn't believe what he heard and exclaimed that the offer of 100 million was outrageous. She then smiled and responded, mentioning that there was an additional condition. Tian's curiosity grew and he looked both surprised and intrigued, eagerly waiting to hear what her condition was. Miss Wei wore a devilish look and demanded that he cannot treat anyone from any of the four families except her. Tian became annoyed as he realized Miss Wei's true motives were to exploit his skills against the other three families. Miss Wei chuckled and reassured him not to be so harsh, explaining that she simply didn't want to cure them. She playfully added that it was not as if he would be poisoning them. She casually mentioned that it was all part of the business, and if Tian was not satisfied, they could talk about the terms and find a solution that worked for both of them. Despite realizing that 100 million was an irresistible offer, Tian could not bring himself to accept it. Miss Wei questioned his decision, and he explained that Yu had shown him immense kindness. He had made a heartfelt promise to Yu that he would do everything in his power to save her grandfather, which compelled him to prioritize his commitment over the tempting offer. Chen explained that he wasn't picking sides but genuinely wanted to help Yu personally. He kindly expressed his desire to stay out of her conflicts and sincerely hoped that she would understand his perspective. Miss Wei explained that maintaining a neutral position is not an easy stance to uphold. Sensing the need for a change in topic, she pointed at him and asked if he would accompany her tonight, leaving Tian surprised by her unexpected proposal. They proceeded to the String Moon Club that evening, both dressed in luxurious attire. As they arrived, onlookers could witness Miss Wei embracing Tian in her arms, creating a captivating sight. Everyone in the club was surprised to see Miss Wei on a date, and she and Tian became the center of attention. Tian expected to be used in a physical way, but he was surprised to find out that Miss Wei only wanted him as her party companion. She smiled and teasingly called him a pervert for his assumption. Miss Wei explained to Tian the importance of the party they were attending, emphasizing that the attendees were wealthy and famous with fortunes. She advised him not to underestimate the importance of these events as they provided valuable opportunities for making connections and conducting business. Tian responded to Miss Wei, questioning why she would be concerned about making connections when the Sidu family already held considerable power and influence. Miss Wei replied by stating that she never underestimates anyone, just as she had never underestimated Tian. Tian, in turn, found himself thinking that the more time he spent with her, the more he realized she was quite extraordinary or unique in some way. Miss Wei playfully acted cute and asked Tian if he thought she was so amazing that he couldn't help but fall in love with her. She then reminded him that she didn't have a boyfriend, perhaps hinting at the possibility of a romantic connection between them. Tian teasingly pondered aloud about Miss Wei being an aunt, prompting her to playfully pull his cheek while remarking that he was a mischievous and naughty pervert. Miss Wei asked Tian to stay for a while and firmly warned him not to pursue other girls at the party. She declared that she belonged to him, and no one would be able to take her away from him. Chan thought himself to be not attractive to do that sort of this. To Chin's surprise, he encountered Yu at the party, looking stunning in her dress. She approached him and asked if he was alone. This caused a wave of surprise among the party attendees, as Yu's family was famous. Rumors had circulated that Tian was romantically involved with multiple members of her family. Chan simply replied to Yu that he had arrived with someone else, explaining that the person had temporarily stepped away. As she suggested finding a place to sit and talk, Miss Wei reached out and grabbed Tian's hand from behind, apologizing to Yu. The sudden display surprised both Yu and the other partygoers. Miss Wei boldly declared that Tian belonged to her for the night. Miss Wei and Yu were locked in a fierce battle for Tian's attention and affection at the party. They fought over him, creating a tense and dramatic scene. Yu was caught off guard by the presence of Tian and Miss Wei together. She expressed her surprise, questioning when they had become close. Yu couldn't comprehend how she had been so careless, allowing Miss Wei to outmaneuver her in their pursuit of Tian's affections. Miss Wei sarcastically informed Yu that she and Tian weren't really that close. She playfully stated that Tian belonged to her for the night and hinted that she might consider allowing Yu to have him at another time. Yu, in response, accepted the agreement to lend Tian to Miss Wei later. Miss Wei remarked that it was a trivial matter as far as their sisterhood was concerned. Shen looked annoyed and asked for someone's opinion. Meanwhile, as Yu walked away, Miss Wei got curious and asked if Tian had feelings for Yu, showing that he cared about Yu a lot. She assumed that Yu had a crush on Tian and added that Yu didn't have a boyfriend. Shen was confused and unsure if things would work out. Miss Wei mentioned that Yu had ridden in her car with him, which was a new experience for Yu since she had never been in a car with a man before. Tian wondered why everyone was talking about it, but Miss Wei found it appropriate. She smiled and told Tian that he was the first man Yu had ever had in her car while pointing at him. Shen remained confused and contemplated the situation while the party started. Musicians played their instruments, filling the room with music. As Tian listened to the music, Miss Wei expressed her desire to dance with him. However, she had admitted that he couldn't dance, feeling nervous about his lack of skill. Meanwhile, everyone else in the room danced gracefully, causing Tian to feel self-conscious about his stiff movements. Yu, observing them, appeared jealous and thought that the sight of family couldn't resist Tian's charm. In an unfortunate accident, Shen accidentally stepped on Miss Wei's foot, causing her pain. Feeling even more nervous, Shen apologized and suggested stopping the dance. However, Miss Wei refused and assured him that there was another type of dance they could try. Taking the lead, Miss Wei took Tian's hand and placed it on her waist, while she rested her arms on his shoulders. They started dancing gracefully together, both blushing, giving the impression of a couple in sync. Tian felt overwhelmed and curious about the type of dance they were doing. The atmosphere grew tense as people around them became jealous, recognizing the dance as a provocative one called Dirty Dance. The sight of Tian and Miss Wei dancing together sparked envy in the hearts of other men as they wondered how it would feel to dance with Miss Wei themselves. While they were dancing, Miss Wei asked Tian if there was a problem. Chen blushed and began to contemplate his thoughts. Suddenly, Miss Wei appeared shocked and called him a pervert. Chen wondered why she wasn't scared and why he shouldn't be either. He thought that if she wanted to play, he could also have fun with her. They continued their dance without any issues, but Chen was clearly having a hard time, a very hard time. With a weird expression on his face, Chen realized something was wrong and quickly rushed to the restroom, leaving Miss Wei and startling everyone around them, including Miss Wei herself. However, Miss Wei smiled, understanding the situation. In the restroom, Chen washed his face in the sink, feeling embarrassed by whatever had caused his discomfort. Upon returning to the party, Chen noticed Miss Wei sipping wine and waiting for him. As he approached her, he noticed her blushing. He asked if it was a complete failure. Miss Wei playfully replied that if it wasn't enough, they could dance again, teasing him about whether he could hold on long enough. Chen hesitated to respond, feeling afraid that he might not be able to meet her expectations, and thus he lost Chen. With a nervous expression, realized that Miss Wei was not someone to be taken lightly. He understood why Xia had been cautious around her. Tian noticed Yu approaching him with a smile and asked him to dance. Once again, Tian expressed his inability to dance, appearing nervous. Seeing the sadness on Yu's face, she assumed that he didn't want to dance with her. However, Chen then clarified that he genuinely didn't know how to dance. Yu's expression softened and she offered to teach him how to dance. Miss Wei watched with delight, smiling at Chen and Yu. The rest of the attendees resumed their dancing, but all eyes were on Tian as they were surprised and envious, assuming he was dancing with Yu again. Curiosity swirled around, with everyone eager to know who he was. Unfortunately, Chen accidentally stepped on Yu's foot, causing her pain. He immediately apologized and suggested forgetting about the dance. However, Yu didn't give up and insisted on continuing despite the discomfort. Time and again, Chin unintentionally stepped on her foot as they tried again, but Yu remained determined, patiently teaching him how to dance. After 20 minutes of perseverance, Tian began to grasp the movements and adapted to dancing gracefully and beautifully. It was a remarkable transformation, showcasing the beauty of the dance. The room erupted in applause, appreciating their efforts and the mesmerizing performance. Tian celebrated the fact that he had finally learned how to dance like a normal person. Yu asked if she had been a good teacher for him, and Tian acknowledged that she had been very competent. However, he couldn't help but notice the sacrifice she had made as he looked down at her foot and saw the rashes caused by his missteps. He felt deeply sorry about it and asked if he could give her a massage to help heal her foot while questioning if she trusted him. In that moment, you remember that Tian was a skilled doctor and nodded, trusting him to provide the necessary care for her foot. Yu entrusted her foot to Tian, and he examined it, thinking to himself that he wasn't that kind of guy. However, he couldn't deny that her foot was causing him a weird thought as if he couldn't get enough of it. Yu advised him not to focus on it and instead asked him to help ease the pain. Shin began to massage her foot, asking if it hurt and assuring her to be patient as the discomfort would soon subside. Tian received a call from Miss Wei, who expressed her frustration, stating that he was quick to deal with her but taking too long to handle the situation with Yu. Miss Wei questioned if she wasn't pretty or interesting enough for him. Chen assured Miss Wei that Yu was only helping to relieve her pain. Turning to Yu, he asked if there was a problem or if something was bothering her. Yu questioned whether he cared about Miss Wei's feelings and expressed her desire to leave, not wanting to keep her waiting. Tian responded, telling Yu not to worry and to let Miss Wei wait. Yu asked Tian if he liked Miss Wei, which caught him off guard. Confused, he questioned why she would think that. Yu explained that she didn't want to be rude, but she felt it would be best for them to stay away from Miss Wei in the future, as she believed Miss Wei wasn't the right girl for him. Chin pondered this, recalling Xia's similar thoughts, and began to suspect that there might be something shady about Miss Wei. Changing the topic, Qian announced that he had finished healing her foot, much to Yu's surprise and admiration. Impressed by his skill, she handed him a membership card for the Crescent Moon Club, which would grant free access to everything. Qian graciously accepted the card and expressed his desire to give her a gift in return. Qian presented a box containing a single piece of medicine to Yu, who smiled and asked if it was for her grandfather. Qian replied that it was not for her grandfather but for her own use, encouraging her to keep it. Unexpectedly, Yu quickly consumed the medicine without hesitation. Qian was shocked and surprised, questioning why she had taken it right away. Panicking, he searched for water and she pointed out the washroom, asking if something was wrong. Without wasting a moment, Qian grabbed her hand and hurriedly led her to the washroom. Yu was surprised to discover that she had a lot of dirt on her skin and wondered how it had happened. Tian sat nearby, patiently waiting, and reassured her not to worry. He assured her that she would be amazed at the transformation once she washed off the dirt with water. As Yu rinsed her skin, she couldn't believe the results. Her skin became smooth and soft, and she marveled at the improvement. She couldn't help but wonder if she was truly that pretty. Yu swiftly exited the restroom, startling Tian and causing his ears to bleed. She eagerly expressed her desire for more of the medicine, stating that she wanted to become even more beautiful. Despite his bleeding ears, Tian explained to her that one pill was sufficient to enhance her beauty, and that consuming more would be futile. Yu was astonished by the results she had already witnessed. They returned to the party, where everyone couldn't help but notice the remarkable transformation in Yu's appearance. All eyes were on her as they admired her newfound beauty. Some people even began to discuss among themselves, acknowledging how much prettier she had become. One guy expressed his surprise and wondered if others noticed the change as well. Another person chimed in, comparing Yu's beauty to that of Miss Wei, stating that Yu had surpassed Miss Wei in terms of attractiveness. Miss Wei was genuinely astonished by how much prettier Yu appeared, despite not having seen her for just half an hour. She couldn't help but speculate that Chen must have employed some kind of method or created a special beauty-enhancing potion for women. Miss Wei's curiosity was piqued, and she wondered if there was more to Chen's abilities than she had initially assumed. Miss Wei teased Tian that he had been with Yu for quite a while, playfully asking if he had already planned his second date with her. Then she grabbed his arm and mentioned that the party was ending, suggesting that she would accompany him home. She then thinks that his commercial value will be measurable, then the women are definitely willing to pay a big price for the beauty. Yu believed that Chan's medical skills were more valuable than his financial status, and she was determined to introduce him to the Aoying family no matter what. Meanwhile, as Miss Wei and Tian headed home, he couldn't help but admire how beautiful Miss Wei looked in her elegant dress, although it was modestly covered. Miss Wei noticed his gaze fixed on her throughout the journey, and he jokingly mentioned a nearby hotel. Feeling hurt, Miss Wei confronted Tian about how he hadn't shared the secret of Yu's enhanced beauty with her and how he seemed indifferent towards her. She expressed her sadness at the situation. He responded to Miss Wei, stating that it was Yu's personal matter and not directly related to him. He questioned why it should concern him. However, Miss Wei swiftly changed the subject, diverting the conversation away from Yu. She then offered him a new deal, increasing her previous offer to 200 million per year. Qian was surprised by Miss Wei's willingness to offer such a large sum of money just to prevent him from treating the old man Ouyang. He expressed his astonishment and mentioned that the Saito family must be very wealthy. He told Miss Wei that he would consider her offer. However, Miss Wei, feeling a bit hurt, remarked that he had been kind to Yu, cold towards her. She asked if she was unlikable to him. Qian responded by saying that she was a very dangerous person and he couldn't dare to get involved with her. Qian and Miss Wei were startled when they heard someone discussing guns and fire. They turned their attention towards Cheng, who had appeared suddenly. Intrigued, they asked him to elaborate on what he meant by guns and fire, wanting to know more about the situation. Qian got out of the car as Miss Wei drove away, leaving him standing there. Her parting words, "You must think of me even in your dreams," echoed in his mind. Cheng, feeling jealous and angry, confronted Qian about his interactions with Miss Wei. Cheng, who was also present, expressed her annoyance with Miss Wei's behavior and demanded an explanation from Tian regarding Miss Wei's statement. She wanted to understand the meaning behind Miss Wei's words and why Tian seemed to be involved with her. She wanted an explanation and wanted to say anything about it. He then said that Miss Wei is just a crazy woman, saying not to worry about her, that they only met a few times, and she just wanted to give him some money. He elaborated on Miss Wei's intelligence and the reasons behind her offer to provide him with financial assistance. Cheng expressed the need for further explanation, so they discussed it extensively at home throughout the night. Eventually, Qian managed to calm Cheng down and address her concerns. Over the course of a few days, Qian dedicated most of his time to practicing the Qi technique, focusing on cultivating a harmonious flow of energy within his body. After 10 weeks of consistent practice, he found himself nearing the first level of mastery. During this period, Miss Wei persistently called him, attempting to seduce him through words, but Qian managed to resist her advances and remained focused on his training. Cheng found a new rental apartment and moved in with Tian to get rid of the embarrassment of living in a hotel. On the other hand, Officer Xia, treatment was finally coming to an end. Officer Xu wanted to hurry up and remove the bandages and asked that Officer Xia will recover today. Tian told Officer Xu to control himself. Officer Xia said that she is the one who is most anxious and said that it'll be a 50-50 shot. She thinks that it will be a failure. Tian confidently said that the world is full of uncertainties and one will remain the same. He added that whether she is beautiful or not, she will still be her woman and will still love her. Xia, with a serious expression, pinched Tian's cheek and sternly reminded him that it was not the time for flirting and that they needed to focus on the procedure at hand. Tian cautiously unwrapped the bandages, and with each layer revealed, a sense of anticipation built up. As the final bandage came off, everyone gasped in astonishment at the incredible outcome. The transformation was truly remarkable, leaving everyone in awe and disbelief. Meanwhile, Xia noticed the shocked expressions on everyone's faces and asked if something was wrong. She was concerned and wondered if the outcome was not as expected. Dr. Wu couldn't believe how effective the treatment was and was pleasantly surprised. She quickly tries to get a mirror and asks why they were all shocked by her appearance. She questioned if she looked ugly and wanted to see the transformation for herself. Tian reassured Dr. Wu not to worry because they were not finished yet. He then asked if she promised to become his woman. She shared that when she was young, her mother predicted that she would never get married. She questioned if Tian was certain about marrying her despite that. In response, Tian confidently stated that his own fortune revealed he was resilient and fearless, capable of marrying any woman he desired. She wanted to stop the teasing and see herself in the mirror. Tian insisted that she should have promised first. Reluctantly, she made the promise and asked for the mirror. Tian called Officer Xu as a witness. When she looked in the mirror, she was surprised to see that her scars had vanished and her face was healed. She was amazed by the transformation. Tian, with a mischievous smile, jokingly suggested checking the chest area too. Blushing, Xia pushed Tian back and told him not to make such suggestions. She then stepped out of her room and asked everyone to leave, stating that she would remove the remaining bandages herself. Dr. Wu mentioned that once Xia had fully recovered, it would be time for them to leave. Tian agreed, stating that it was indeed time to go. Officer Xu inquired about their destination, to which Tian responded that they were heading to Country H to educate some pricks. They arrived in Country H, and at the airport entrance, Dr. Wu asked Tian why he was so afraid of flying and why it scared him so much. Tian explained that he had a fear of antique airplanes with shaking wings during takeoff and landing. Dr. Wu suggested riding a helicopter instead, as it doesn't have wings that shake. They then spotted their transportation and headed to the hotel in Country H. Upon reaching the hotel, they were greeted by other doctors at the entrance. One of the doctors recognized Tian and considered him a hypocrite, noting that it had been a long time since they last saw each other. Suddenly, a doctor appeared out of nowhere and claimed to recognize Mr. Wei. He expressed surprise, mentioning that he had expected China to send someone else this time, not a loser like him. This statement angered one of the doctors, who confronted the newcomer, Jin Zaijiang. The doctor argued that there would always be winners and losers in life, questioning why there was such an obsession with winning and why losing once in a while was seen as a problem. Dr. Jin continued his mocking remarks, asserting that individuals like them who were perceived as losers would never be able to achieve victory. He confidently declared that they would face a significant loss this year, further provoking their anger. She had managed to maintain his composure and agreed with Dr. Wu's earlier assessment of Dr. Jin's arrogance. Tian suggested that they should display greater confidence in their ability to win this time and proposed a bet, challenging Dr. Jin to bets on the outcome of their challenge. Dr. Wei disagreed with the idea of making a bet with Dr. Jin because they were representing China and losing would be shameful for their country. He stressed the need to protect their reputation and advised against participating in any bets that could damage their image. Dr. Jin taunted them, calling them cowards for hesitating to make a bet. He questioned how they, as Chinese, could have the audacity to call themselves the kingdom of heaven if they lacked the courage to take risks. Both doctors agreed to the bet. Dr. Jin proposed that if they lost, they would need to kneel down and admit that Chinese medicine is inferior to their medicine. He further insisted that they acknowledge their reliance on past medical skills. Dr. Jin then asked if they still wanted to proceed with the bet and questioned their level of confidence in winning. Tian, with a hint of a smirk, asked what would happen if they lost. Dr. Jin was taken aback by the question and Tian repeated it. Dr. Jin's followers get mad and called Tian careless. Dr. Jin asked Tian if he is with Dr. Wei and looked like a doctor from China. He then said that if they lose, they will apologize to them. Tian gets mad, and it was unfair that just an apology. You heard that people from country H are good at making romantic action movies with their artificial beauty. Dr. Jin then asked what's their point. Shin then said that if they lose, he wants to be the leading man for his live show for them, and afterward, they have to get under his pants. The doctors are impressed by Tian, saying how the guy is a real piece of work and how he even thinks of such a ridiculous idea, and they love it. Dr. Jin becomes furious and asks how dare Tian insult him and if he even knows who he is. Tian calmly responds that it's none of his business who they are. He's simply asking if he's up for the challenge. Dr. Jin replies that there's nothing to challenge, but then adds that if Tian loses, he must quit being a doctor and never heal anyone again. Tian, maintaining a composed demeanor, states that Dr. Jin is even more traumatizing than him and that he wants blood. Tian agrees to the dare and introduces himself as Yu Wuxian. Dr. Wei expresses gratitude towards Tian for stepping up. Tian emphasizes that they are not representing themselves but the entire team in China as a whole. He urges them to be tough and not lose to them. The next day, they see patients lying down as the challenge consists of 2 out of 3 rounds, with 1 round per day. The competition is fair and impartial, with participating doctors having no access to patient information. They begin the first round, where the winner will be determined by who can effectively heal a patient next to the doctors. Everyone contemplates and observes how they can cure the patient. They discuss various treatment options and strategies. As the time runs out, one doctor suggests moving to the conference room for further discussion, as the results will be available in an hour. They gather their thoughts and prepare to analyze the outcome of their treatments. In a conference room, the doctors engage in a discussion about the patient's problem. 2 of them express their astonishment that they were unable to determine the patient's illness simply by visual observation. They remark on the complexity of the case and the need for further investigation to accurately diagnose the patient's condition. Well, that's all for today's video. Remember to like and subscribe. See you soon.